It starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I am Dominic. Today, I'm going to share with you more information about the SDG number 11, which is the Sustainable Cities and Communities. So let's get started. Why building resilience is the future of sustainable building. Hurricane Michael, Superstorm Sandy, the Phuket tsunami, the Nepal earthquake, Super Typhoon Haiyan. Whenever and wherever a natural disaster wreaks havoc in the world, sustainability and building resilience, also known as resilient design, becomes a topic of conversation amongst architects, builders, and contractors. Yet, the two, while equally important, are not synonymous. A newsfeed populated with catastrophic images of death and destruction reminds us that while green building is certainly important, chlorofluorocarbons and LEED or LEED certification doesn't matter if a building becomes uninhabitable due to flooding, earthquake, or some other disasters. That's where building resilience comes into play. So what is the difference between sustainability and building resilience? What is building resilience and why do we need it? The United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development published a report titled Our Common Future. In it, the authors define sustainability as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Over the past 2.5 decades, sustainability has evolved into a novel buzzword in active green movement ranging from conservation to resource efficacy to global warming to global change to global biodiversity. In essence, sustainability is all about protecting nature and the environment from human endeavors. However, who protects humans from Mother Nature? That is the heart of building resilience. According to the Resilient Design Institute, resilient design is defined as the intentional design of buildings, landscapes, communities, and regions in response to vulnerabilities to disaster and disruption of normal life. Plainly speaking, building to code is no longer enough, and neither is creating energy-efficient homes. Yes, it makes you more comfortable. It saves you money and energy bills and reduces your carbon footprint. But a challenge facing contractors today is creating homes, buildings, and communities that are resilient in the face of droughts, flooding, and a whole host of other natural disasters. So where do we start? So here are some practical tips for building resilient homes. According to Alex Wilson, founder of the Resilient Design Institute, resilient design involves creating homes, buildings, and whole communities that are resilient in the face of droughts, extreme heat, and flooding posed by climate change. First, it isn't built in a floodplain. Where we build is a big part of resilience. Second, it has a deep roof overhangs to keep water away from the walls and foundation. Third, it is oriented to take advantage of sunlight and passive solar heating. Fourth, it is designed to minimize overheating and air conditioner use through simple cooling load avoidance strategies. It may have shade trees or a trellis with the sun shading vines on the west. Fifth, it is highly insulated and has high performance windows. In drier climates, it isn't surrounded by a lush green lawn in the middle of summer. So aside from practical tips for building resilient homes, there are also built-in design principles by architect Craig Applegate. First, use low-carbon input materials and systems. Materials such as wood, bamboo, and low-energy input masonry should be considered as more appropriate building materials. Second, design and plan buildings for low external energy inputs for ongoing building operations. Buildings should be designed to be highly energy efficient and include the use of highly insulated building envelopes, triple insulated glazing, and where possible, passive solar heating with thermal mass storage systems. Third, design buildings for maximum daylighting. Daylight will be the primary source of lighting for buildings in a post-carbon city, so buildings should be designed to make the most of daylight for internal lighting. Narrower floor plates, internal courtyards, and atrium spaces are good examples of possible daylight effective strategies. Fourth, design generic buildings for future flexibility of use. Because of energy costs will be higher, both construction materials and the construction process will be relatively more expensive than they are now. The most effective strategies for designing for future flexibility are the use of modularity and standardization in the planning of program spaces. Modularity provides providing spaces to multiples of one another, and standardization of spaces aims for the provision of common denominator spaces that can be used for many overlapping uses. Buildings should be designed for both first and future uses. Fifth, design for durability and robustness. Use materials and construction methods that are more durable in the face of more energetic weather, anticipating an increasing number of significant weather events that climate change will produce. 6. Design for use of local materials and products. Resilient cities will need to be much more localized in their use of materials and products. The increased cost of energy will dramatically increase transportation-related costs of non-local materials. That should, in turn, create a greater demand for locally produced materials and products for building construction. 7. Design and plan for low energy input constructability. Design and plan for buildings that can be built efficiently by manual labor and that do not require oil-fueled machines and systems requiring significant quantities of fuel for operation. 8. Design for use of building systems that can be serviced and maintained with local materials, parts, and labor. Climate change and peak oil will more than likely reduce global trade and reduce easy access to materials, products, and systems from other countries. Therefore, building systems should be designed to be serviceable through a local supply of parts and labor. So apart from designing resilient homes and buildings, we must also generate and manage our waste responsibly in order to preserve the status quo of the sustainability of the cities and the communities. Waste is generated by activities in all economic sectors and is generally regarded as an unavoidable byproduct of economic activity. Waste generation includes all materials discarded, whether or not they are later recycled or disposed in a landfill. Waste generation rates for residential and commercial activities can be used to estimate the impact of new developments on the local waste stream. Waste management is the precise name for the collection, transportation, disposal, or recycling and monitoring of waste. This term is assigned to the waste material that is produced through human being activity. This material is managed to avoid its adverse effect over human health and environment. There are types of waste. First, liquid waste. Liquid waste is commonly found both in households as well as in industries. This waste includes dirty water, organic liquids, wash water, waste detergents, and even rainwater. Second, solid rubbish. Solid rubbish can include a variety of items found in your household along with commercial and industrial locations. Solid rubbish is commonly broken down into the following types, namely, plastic waste. This consists of bags, containers, jars, bottles, and many other products that can be found in your household. Paper card waste. This includes packaging materials, newspapers, cardboards, and other products. Tins and metals. This can be found in various forms throughout your home. Most metals can be recycled. And lastly, ceramics and glass. These items can easily be recycled. Look for special glass recycling bins and bottle banks to dispose them correctly. The third type of waste, organic waste. It is another common household. All food waste, garden waste, manure, and rotten meat are classified as organic waste. Organic waste in landfills causes the production of methane, so it must never be simply discarded with general waste. Fourth, recyclable rubbish. Recyclable rubbish includes all waste items that can be converted into products that can be used again. Solid items such as paper, metals, furniture, and organic waste can all be recycled. The fifth and last type of waste, hazardous waste. It includes all types of rubbish that are flammable, toxic, corrosive, and reactive. These items can harm you as well as the environment and must be disposed correctly. So there are some ways in how to manage our waste. And these are the 5 R's. Refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. Refuse. Refuse to buy or accept products that can harm you, your company, and the environment. Use the power of your dollar to tell companies what you want and do not want. Think about freebies that companies give away. Now, if you are going to use that pen or reusable grocery bag, by all means take it. But if it will eventually end up in the trash, then just say no. Refuse to buy harmful products like cleaners, chemical solvents, and use alternatives that are water-based. Refuse to receive materials from your supplies with unnecessary packaging that you will later have to pay for to dispose. Try to ask yourself, why am I purchasing this item? Or why do I need this? Reduce to use less. Think about what you use and buy. Could you use less? Next are reuse something you already have instead of buying something. Replace needing a single-use item with something you can use over and over again. Next, repurpose. Repurpose to take something and use it for something else. This requires a bit of thinking and craftiness, but doesn't have to be beautiful. Repurpose scrap paper for taking notes. Repurpose metal cans, buckets for creative plant containers. And last but not least, recycle. Maybe you missed the opportunity to refuse or reduce because you just weren't there in your great journey when these purchases were made. Maybe there is no alternative. Recycling is a great way to open your eyes to all that you toss and a chance to rethink your future purchases. Recycle all the basics you can, like paper, plastic, metal, and glass. Recycle food wastes into composted soil or as a food or for a local farm. Recycle all fabric, even stained or ripped clothing. So that's it for today. Hope that you learned something from my video presentation.